We're talking with the local lender here in San Antonio about buyer programs, not the ones we're used to, but the ones specifically geared for San Antonio employees, firefighters, and police officers. My name is Raul Jimenez, and this is Joe Hemann with CTC Mortgage. Welcome.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So tell me a little bit about your background, where you came from, what got you into the industry.
So I've been a mortgage loan officer for a little over 8 years, and prior to that, I was a San Antonio firefighter for over 34 years. So this program is near and dear to me.
Near and dear.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very passionate about helping first-time home buyers and moving people through the stages of their home buying experience, whether, again, it's their first house or upgrading to the house that they'll raise their family in, or even when they downsize and want to become empty nesters.
So tell me about this program. We've all heard of the buyer assistance grant programs, things like this, but this was natured for our city workers, firefighters, and police officers. So how does that vary from the other programs that are out there?
So this is a program from COSA, which is the city of San Antonio, and it's two programs. It's actually one program geared for two different audiences. The first one is for city employees, and that's the HOPE program. That's the homeownership program for employees.
Okay.
And then the firefighter police officer one is the FRAP. They're fabulous programs in the fact that it's a $20,000 forgivable grant. And so they give you a second on the side of your mortgage if there's no interest rate, no payment, and the grant is forgiven 1/10 every year you live in the house. And when you get year 10, the whole grant.
So essentially 5 years, you pay half of that back. If you're there the whole 10, free and clear.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now I've heard of these programs, and there's some special qualifications that need to be met. Now, geographically, or how does that work?
So we'll break it down into three categories, which will be the borrower, the house itself, and then the lending standards.
Okay.
So for the borrower, they have to be a full-time city employee. For HOPE and for FRAP, they have to be a uniformed police or firefighter or cadet.
Okay.
They do have to be a U.S. citizen, and there's also a first-time home buyer standard they have to meet, which means they have not been on title for 3 years.
Okay.
For the house itself, you do have to be inside the city of San Antonio, and we'll break that down further into the CRAG, which is basically the downtown area. If you put a box over it, if you buy a house inside the CRAG, you're going to get a $40,000 grant.
Which is double.
Double.
Okay.
And as we know, there's some nice areas in
Sure.
there. For the lending standards, you do have to be qualified to purchase a house. So you have to qualify for a QM mortgage, which is conventional FHA and a VA loan.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be using owner finance or rent-to-own programs.
Okay.
There's also qualifications that you cannot have a Chapter 7 bankruptcy in the last 5 years or a Chapter 13 bankruptcy in the last 2. There are HOI requirements. So you have to put $500 minimum for your earnest money deposit, and there's an 8-hour home education class.
Okay.
That's approved through HUD.
Okay, so there's education that comes around with getting certified for this program.
Correct.
Okay. And what about on our side when our folks go out there and try to stream into this program and figure out how to do it? What is the first step? How do people get started? I mean, is it something that I would bring up to my client, or how does that work?
I think they should have it in mind. So the first step is to get pre-approved like you would on any mortgage. The majority of this is going to be 98% just a regular transaction. There's extra paperwork that I'll do at the end. So on that, I'll tell them, let's have a conversation. We'll talk about the pre-approval process, their priorities, and their needs throughout it. We'll do a mortgage application. We'll pull credit, collect docs. I'll evaluate their debt to income ratio, and we'll look at their income and kind of fix all the problems if there's any. And then when they're ready, pre-approved, I turn them over to you.
Okay, so essentially the certification needs to come prior to all that going through, because we've got to make sure that they complete that before they get turned over my way?
No.
Okay, so it could go as we're running along.
Yes.
Okay, so then let me switch gears a little bit. Now we're been turned over to me. Thank you very much. We're out in the field looking. I know there's some government programs that meet strict inspection guidelines. How does it work with this program?
So with this one, it's very similar to those programs. The biggest requirement is you are a city employee.
Okay.
That you're buying inside the city of San Antonio limits, and that you meet all the requirements of the program.
Okay, so no reason to be scared when you're out there with your agent or whatnot. I mean, it's normal transaction on their side. What is a typical closing time for one of these programs?
I'll probably need an extra 5 days.
Okay, so 30, now we bump up 5 days, 35 days or so.
Correct.
Which is really amazing, because some of these grant programs out there take 60 days to complete. And when we're competing for that property that's great for our clients, sometimes that's the nail in the coffin that says, we're going to go this route because this one's a little too risky, or maybe not even the risky part. Maybe it's just the fact that they don't know anything about it. So I think it's very important to get to know how the process works and things like that. So for these programs, do they reach out to you directly? Is there like a source that they have to go through, or how does that work?
So I'll identify that they're a city employee and they're a first-time home buyer. The biggest factor that I see on it is the timeliness of the program. So COSA dumps money into this program at the beginning of the fiscal year, October 1.
Okay.
It's first come, first serve, and they typically run out before Christmas. This year, they're giving out 7 grants, and next year, they're slated to give out 9. So from my prospect, I want them to contact me late August, and we'll start the pre-approval process. I'll have them ready to go early September. Y'all should be looking for houses by late September and ideally under contract in early October.
Okay.
The timelines, to me, is the biggest issue.
So then essentially time is of the essence of this. There's only so much money to go around, but it's a great big bucket if we're able to pull that off.
Absolutely. It's one of the best home assistance programs I've seen.
Okay, so tell me, what if they don't fall into this bucket, or maybe it doesn't work for them because maybe we've expired some money? Is there any other programs out there that can assist?
Absolutely. There's many programs out there. My favorite is Fannie Mae's Home Ready 1 program. It's a national program that's designed to increase homeownership in 20 cities around the nation. Texas has 5 of them, with Houston, DFW, Austin, San Antonio, and the Rio Grande Valley. You qualify for this program based on where you currently live, not where you're buying a house. You get $6,500 that's forgiven after 1 year. You get $500 for an appraisal and $500 towards a home warranty. Again, forgiven after 1 year. It's a conventional program, so you do have to have better FICO scores, but there's no income limits or anything like that. Texas has TSHAC program, which is a conventional and FHA program as well. You get 3 to 5% assistance, and depending on how much you take will dictate the interest rate you get on there. There are income limits on there, and the FICO scores are a little bit more lenient. And on top of that, at CTC, we're brokers, so we have many lenders that do have BPA assistance, very similar to TSHACs.
Okay.
So mostly FHA, and the rates depend on how much money you take at the end of it.
So one of the things that I love working with Joe about is sometimes I'll get a client and they're a little bit nervous because they're scared that they had a late hit on their credit a year ago or something like that. And they're really, they don't want to raise their hand and say, I'm ready to kind of start looking for a house. But what I love about you is you actually take them in as a regular client, regardless of whatever it might be in the past, and you kind of coach them. Maybe they're ready to go today, but maybe they might need a couple months, but you're able to do that process, correct?
Absolutely. And that's my passion. I remember when I bought my first house and how it changed my life, and I want that for everybody. So whether you think you're ready or not, whether you're 3 weeks away, 3 months away, let's start the process and start putting the pieces together for homeownership.
So Joe, for the folks watching right now, if they're curious to see where they stand, or if they just want to go in and fill out that application, how do they find you, or at least get you on the phone? And what I love about you, you answer your phone, which is really amazing.
Thank you. I always love the opportunity to help people. So my website is josephhemann.com, and you can reach me at 210-560-4859 or joe@cleartoclosemortgage.com.
Well, there you have it. Thank you, Joe, for coming out and just shedding a whole bunch of light on the lending industry. For more information, please feel free to like and share our channel, and we look forward to helping you in all your real estate needs. Thank you so very much, and have a blessed day.